Algebra 2, target 9. I can evaluate a polynomial function using synthetic substitution. First off, let's review what a polynomial function is. All right. Remember from target 1 we talked about, standard form, pieces of a function. All right. A polynomial function is a function where we got a bunch of terms added together. When we do standard form, we like to have the highest powers first in decreasing order. This right here kind of is an example of a polynomial function. Let me kind of explain here what your variables mean. This a sub 0, that is our constant. All right, and then we power up. This a sub 1 x, well, it's not written there, but that means x to the first degree, and a sub 1, that means our coefficient on x to the first degree. The next one we'd have here would be a sub 2 x squared, a sub 3 x cubed. And we go up to here, a sub n minus 1, x to the n minus 1. That means our power is n minus 1, and this is the coefficient that goes with that power, all the way up to x sub a sub n, x to the n. It's picking a place to stop. That's our degree. This is a function, polynomial function, nth degree. A sub n is a coefficient by that variable. One thing to keep in mind, all n's are whole numbers, or all powers, all exponents are whole numbers. So that means no negatives, no fractions, no decimals. They're all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 0, or higher. All right? So that's what a polynomial function is. All right? So let's use it. Or here's some examples. Example of a constant polynomial is just a number, a sub 0. Example, negative 14. We got linear, y equals mx plus b, or a sub 1 x plus a sub 0. Quadratic, what we just got done doing, a sub 2 x squared plus a sub 1 x, 2x squared plus x minus 9, and so on. One thing to keep in mind, when you're writing in standard form, if one of these is 0, you may skip it and not write it, but it still is there. So, for example, this says f of x equals x to the fourth plus 2x minus 1. There's no x cubed, there's no x squared, but they are still there. So this is really x to the fourth plus 0, x to the third plus 0, x squared plus 2x minus 1. That is the true polynomial function there. That becomes important when we do our synthetic division. Or, I'm sorry, our synthetic substitution. All right? So when we evaluate a function, we can do it one of two ways. Direct substitution, which we've done in the past, which is simply plug and chug. Substitute in and simplify using order of operations. We're going to talk about something new here, which is synthetic substitution. It's synthetic because we don't actually substitute, but it gets the same result. So we'll substitute without substituting. It involves just adding and multiplying. So let's just review direct substitution. Evaluate f of x equals 2x to the fourth minus 5x to the third minus 4x plus 8 when x equals 3. Using direct substitution, we're just going to plug and chug. F of 3 equals 2 times 3 to the fourth minus 5 times 3 cubed minus 4 times 3 plus 8. 3 to the fourth is, well, 3 times 3 would be 3 squared, which is 9. Square that again to get 3 to the fourth, so that's 81. So we got 2 times 81 minus 5 times 3 cubed is 27, minus 4 times 3 is 12, plus 8. All right, 2 times 81, that's 162. Minus 5 times 27, 135. Minus 12 plus 8. And go through 162 minus 135. minus 12 plus 8 is 23. So f of 3 is 23 using direct substitution. Not too bad. It's kind of hairy in here, a little bit long. Let's look at synthetic substitution. Again, we're not actually substituting. We're going to just multiply and add and get the same result as substitution. One thing we're going to deal with, we're just going to deal with the coefficients. So your first step, just write your coefficients out. Now keep in mind there's no x squared here, so our coefficient for x squared is actually a 0. If something's missing, you must fill it in. All right? So these are our coefficients here. 2, negative 5, 0, negative 4, and 8. They all must be represented. All right? And right here we got what we are substituting in. You'll see this a couple different ways. I was taught to list them out. And instead of drawing my box like this, I'll put my box here. That's the way you'll see me do it. The book does it this way. Either way is fine. They both get you the same result. So your first step is just to list everything out. Your next step is you're going to start your adding and your multiplying. Take this first term, your lead coefficient, and add it to what's underneath. Since we haven't done anything yet, there's nothing underneath, so it's just going to get dropped down. Right? So that's your multiply. Your next step, that's your add. So you start by adding, bring it down, add it to 0. Then you multiply. You're always going to multiply by this number. So 3 times 2, that's where the 6 comes from. So add, then multiply. Repeat until you get to the end of the line. All right? So add, negative 5 and 6 adds to 1. Multiply, 3 and 1 is 3. Repeat. Add, multiply. Okay, and you can see the work down here. Your last result is 23. Well, that is our answer. F of 3 equals 23. And if you take a look, the last result, when we did it by substitution, was 23. All right? Some advantages to the synthetic substitution. It's a lot quicker. A lot quicker. And the calculations doesn't get quite so intense. We didn't have to do 3 to the 4th. That's nowhere to be seen. We didn't have to do 3 cubed. All we had to do is add and multiply. Right? So let's try this. Do it in 2 ways. Let's find f of negative 2 by direct substitution and by synthetic substitution. Right? First by direct. We got f of negative 2 is negative 2 to the 4th plus 2 times negative 2 cubed plus 3 times negative 2 squared minus 7. All right, negative 2 to the 4th, that's 16, plus 2 times negative 2 to the 3rd, that's negative 8, plus 3 times negative 2 squared is 4, minus 7. So we got 16. This is negative 16, 12 minus 7. This works out to 5. All right, so that is direct substitution. Now let's use synthetic substitution. Start by writing your coefficients out. Our power is 4, so we're leading off with our coefficient. That's our 4th degree coefficient, 3rd degree coefficient, sorry. 3rd degree coefficient is 2. 2nd degree coefficient is 3. There's no 1st degree there, so we'll fill in a 0. And our constant is negative 7. So I'll make my box. I'll put negative 2 in the box. We'll drop the 1 down and multiply. Repeat. Add and multiply. 0 times negative 2 is 0. Add 3 plus 0. Multiply. 3 times negative 2. Add and multiply. Negative 6 times 2 is 12. Add And I'm at the end. F of -2 equals 5. All right? Same answer. Different method. We substituted synthetically, so we substituted without actually substituting. Synthetic motor oil is motor oil that's not actually motor oil. All right, let's try another one. Evaluate using direct substitution or synthetic and synthetic substitution. All right? Why don't we make a race out of this one? I'll do it direct substitution, and you do synthetic. All right? Using direct substitution, G of -1 is -2 times -1 to the 4th minus -1 to the 3rd plus 4 times -1 minus 5. So, simplify, -2 times -1 to the 4th is 1. -1 cubed is -1. Plus 4 times -1 is -4 minus 5. So we got -2 plus 1 minus 4 minus 5. So this is -1 minus 4 minus 5. That works out to -10. All right, who won? Let's try it now synthetically. Write out our coefficients. -2, -1, we're missing the square. Don't forget to fill in what you miss. Our first degree and our constant. And then in the box, we're going to do -1. Add and multiply. Add, multiply, repeat. Right, there's nothing here to add, so it's just -2. Multiply, we get 2. Add, we get 1. Multiply, we get -1. Add, we get -1. Multiply, we get 1. Add, we get 5. Multiply, we get -5. Add, we get -10. G of -1 equals -10. I'd be willing to bet that if you didn't beat me, you were close. Because all you have to do is add and multiply. All right? Make sure, the most important thing, if there's any missing powers, they get filled in as zeros. Okay? So in review, synthetic substitution, list your coefficients. Put whatever number is here in the box. Add, multiply, and repeat. All right? And as a kind of a star for number 1, fill in missing powers with 0. Very important. It will not work if you do not have all your powers.